Hey, it's Matt Sager back with a slightly less intense episode. It was not fun yesterday taking John Schneider to the woodshed, but I honestly felt it was necessary. I hadn't seen or heard coverage of what he's been doing on YouTube anywhere. And if you want to know about that same activity on YouTube from Schneider, I direct you to yesterday's episode. But the bottom line is that he's been equivocating on the legacy of the Confederacy and of the Confederate flag, basically advising people who are viewing his YouTube videos to go out and seek misinformation, claiming that he's got access to some mythical information that he won't divulge and he won't divulge the source of, but it's basically this racist nonsense. And it's really sad and really disappointing from a guy I certainly had respected. But as I said, today's episode is much more light, a little bit sad, but in a very different context, checking in with the multimedia world of Archie. That's a comics line that's come a very long way over the last decade or so. Really starting in 2015, this big renaissance with the reboot of the main Archie comic, all these amazing Archie horror titles, which sadly the best of them, Afterlife with Archie and The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina, have been in limbo for a couple years now. But still, it's a revitalized comic line and one that's seeing multimedia success. Riverdale is now heading toward season 5, I think? That said, not everything is coming up Archie. Last week, Katy Keene was canceled after only one season at the CW network. Variety reporting that Katy Keene will not be coming back for more adventures in the world of New York fashion, at least not at the CW. So they're hoping to take the show to some other platform, perhaps a streaming service, although the odds of that seem rather slim because the news from yesterday is that Chilling Adventures of Sabrina over at Netflix has been canceled too. So I don't think they're looking to adapt more Archie material, although, anything's possible. It hasn't just been cut off. There will be a final part 4 to The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina coming later in 2020. It was, to my way of thinking, a pretty decent adaptation. Good show. I liked it certainly a great deal more than I liked Riverdale, a show that I understand has all kinds of entertainment value, just nothing that struck my fancy at any point. Luke Perry is a great actor, and I was glad to see him on the show. And then, of course, tragically, it was his last role as he died terribly young. It's really sad. For me, Riverdale, I had to tap out in episode 1 when I saw that Archie and Ms. Grundy had a thing that just anyone who grew up with any sense of the original character of Ms. Grundy, that is just, deeply disturbing. That's not a joke. That's like molestation kind of stuff. So I hope Riverdale is thriving. Hope it is creepy, but not overly creepy to its fans. And genuinely sad about the ending of Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. Hopefully, showrunner Roberto Akir Sacasa will now be able to redirect some of his energy to returning to the comic of the same name, although it's doubtful. He's going to work on getting a new home for Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. He's working on other multimedia properties. He's apparently launching a show on Quibi, a streaming service that is somehow the most hateable thing on your smartphone, or if you manage to get it on one of your smart TV services. Quibi is terrible. It's these little bite-sized TV vignettes, YouTube videos really, 5-minute shows. The brainchild of ex-Disney head Jeffrey Katzenberg, Quibi consists of these episodes of bite-sized entertainment, which honestly you can get much better content for free at YouTube, to the extent that it had some big-name talent, which it was paying insane amounts of money to. You could get better access to and entertainment from these talents by just following their Instagram and YouTube feed. So it's a streaming service with no reason to exist, as has been made clear from behind-the-scenes interviews with much of its incredibly disaffected staff, who are dismayed at what a failure it is, embarrassed to be working there, infuriated at the high rates paid to talent who barely do any work. And then there's the story that popped up on Vulture a couple of days ago, which really took Quibi out to the woodshed and included an anecdote involving Gal Gadot coming to the company and giving a talk extolling the virtues of hiring women, making content for and starring women, and about the future of women in entertainment, prompting Jeffrey Katzenberg to sort of get her alone in a corner and say, wow, you're really inspiring. How would you like to be our in-house Jane Fonda and make fitness videos for us? Gal Gadot was apparently deeply dispirited by this horrifying proposal. So Quibi sucks. And Aguirre Sacasa, I wish him all the best. He may be the one guy, the one producer to create some entertaining content over there, but I wouldn't bet on it. He's a talented person, though, and I don't doubt that with Archie properties, at streaming services, and in comics. Look, he's had some very major failures. He was deeply involved in the Spider-Man play, so he can fall quite far. But he pretty much always rises. He is a busy, talented guy, and for every crappy project he does, there's 2 or 3 real successes, and I don't think that's going to stop anytime soon. The other thing about Archie, sorry to have taken that little detour there, but I was a little reluctant to get to this because Archie's stepping on my toes now. Archie Comics now align with Spotify and entering the world of podcasting. This is an interesting new phenomenon, new-ish. Marvel really started the comics to podcast business. A couple of years ago, they began a partnership with Stitcher. They did these pretty good Wolverine podcasts. And I only learned this today. There was a 10-part Marvels adaptation of the now classic Kurt Busiek and Alex Ross miniseries over at Stitcher as well, starring as the lead, Phil Sheldon, voice actor Method Man. So I'm going to check that out. But Spotify is apparently the new home for comics-based podcasts. They signed a very major deal with DC a few weeks ago. And now, today, they announce that they're in partnership with Archie to, quote, adapt the publisher's critically acclaimed and best-selling characters and stories into multiple podcasts on the streaming platform. This is accompanied by a really cute piece of art showing actually the pre-reboot versions of Archie, not the modern style that you've seen in 2015 Archie Comics and beyond, but this art drawn by longtime mainstay Archie artist Dan Parent shows you the version of Archie that you're undoubtedly used to. Classic Archie, let's say. So the announcement goes on to say that Archie Comics and Spotify have signed an exclusive first-look deal to adapt the publisher's critically acclaimed and best-selling characters and stories into multiple podcasts on the streaming platform. The anticipated slate of series will span the entire Archieverse of characters, including mainstays Archie, Betty, Veronica, Jughead, Sabrina, Josie and the Pussycats, and many more, and is the next part of Archie's continued effort to expand to new audiences and storytelling mediums with its wide array of world-famous characters. So this may very well be a new home for instance, Katy Keene and Sabrina. And audio adaptations of comics, when done right, are awesome. They're great. My earliest memory of them as a kid would be Power Records. This is not an exactly new phenomenon. It's been a dormant phenomenon for a while, although there's this company called Graphic Audio, which has been doing adaptations of comics for many years. Quality is so-so. Never were able to garner any attention and never got this kind of press support. Never got this kind of marketing push from the comics publishers they were in partnership with. But they made a real effort at creating theater of the mind, which is what, at their best, these audio adaptations are. When done right, they're really an art form to themselves. I very much look forward to, for instance, Audible's adaptation of Neil Gaiman's Sandman coming out July 15th. As for Spotify, what it's going to do for Archie, and for that matter, related, how they will work with DC Comics, I'm very excited to see and, more importantly, hear how that all works out going forward. As for Katy Keene, like I said, I didn't really give it a chance. I've just been too busy. I was not disinterested in it, but just watching all of the superhero and comic-related entertainment that there is, even now with production on hold, it is a sort of full-time job just consuming content, and Katy Keene was in my queue. At some point, I will watch it, but I am sad just for the cast and crew involved. It's never happy when a show gets canceled, so I wish them all the best. Ditto everyone involved with the Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. And good luck to everyone over at Spotify, DC, Archie. Just leave a little space for the little guy. Us independent content creators matter too. We're the ones reporting on all this stuff, after all. Feel free to leave comments about this or anything else. And hey, subscribe while you're at it. If you're checking this out on YouTube, subscribe, like, hit the bell for notifications. You can also subscribe via any podcast app. I'm on many of them, including Spotify. Also Apple Podcasts, Stitcher, and the rest of them. You can also follow me on social media. There's links in this episode's description that will help you to do that. Check me out on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Reddit, and many more. Thanks a lot, and I'll talk with you soon.